In this video, we're going to have a look at how to multiply expressions that involve surds. Now, the first step in multiplying expressions that involve surds is to make sure that each surd contained within the expression is written in its simplest form. If it's not in its simplest form, you need to go and simplify it before proceeding. The second step is to multiply the numbers under the square root signs together. And the third step is to multiply the numbers outside of the square root signs together. Once you get a final answer, make sure that it's in its simplest form. If it's not in the simplest form, you need to go ahead and simplify it before finishing the question and moving on to the next one. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. So the first expression I want to simplify is the square root of 6 times the square root of 7. So having a look at both of the numbers under my square root signs, 6 and 7, they're already in the simplified form. So I can go ahead and multiply both of those numbers together. So that is going to equal the square root of 42. Now, before I proceed, I need to make sure that the square root of 42 is in its simplest form, which it is. So my final answer is going to be the square root of 42. My second example that I want to simplify is 3 times the square root of 5 times the square root of 12. Now, before I continue, the first step I need to do is make sure that each of my surds are in its simplest form. So the square root of 5 is in its simplest form, but the square root of 12 is not. So the square root of 12 can be simplified using the factors 4 times 3, because 4 is a perfect square. So it's going to equal to the square root of 4 times 3, which equals to the square root of 4 times the square root of 3, which equals 2 times the square root of 3. So moving back to my original question, I can now rewrite my expression. 3 times the square root of 5 times 2 times the square root of 3. Now, to proceed with my simplification, I need to multiply my numbers under the square root sign together. So 5 times 3 is going to be 15, and multiply my numbers outside of my square roots together. So 3 times 2 is 6. So my simplified answer is going to be 6 times the square root of 15. Now, before I finish, I need to make sure that that is in simplest form, which it is. So I leave it as 6 times the square root of 15 as my final simplified answer. So that's 2 examples of how we simplify expressions involving multiplication and surds.